Hi everyone, welcome to day 36 of Watching Me Learn Spanish. Um, if you've been following along, you know that for the past few days I've been fighting a sickness, a virus. It might be that virus, but I have been doing the streams, just not as intense as I usually do. I've only been doing tracks of language transfer, and I haven't been creating the 5 minute videos like I usually do, both because I'm losing my voice, it's hard to focus, and I'm really tired all the time. So I just want to keep progress going, even though I can't do the hard work that I usually do, which is the Language Lord 5 minute videos. um, and as it is Sunday, I should be starting a new 5 minute video, but I'm still sick. So I decided that instead of starting a new video this week, just dedicating the rest of the week to finishing language transfer. Um, I have 15 more tracks to get through, and to be honest, language transfer is an incredible method, but now that I'm 75 tracks through, I do feel like it's kind of a slog to get through the tracks because um, the videos do require you to be active in that you have to come up with the sentences that he's saying. But on the other hand, I also feel like I've gotten enough of a foundation through language transfer to start looking at other more challenging material. Um, that said, I am going to finish language transfer, and I do think that everyone should start with language transfer. It's just like with anything, when you're doing the same thing every single day, you kind of want to change it up. And if you're learning independently, maybe this is the time in your learning that you can change it up and go do another thing and then come back to language transfer. But I'd rather just plow through language transfer and put it behind me so that I can go full force into the next thing. So that's what I'm going to do. The rest of the week is language transfer. Gonna do 3 tracks a day instead of the 1 or 2 that I usually do. And I should finish up by Thursday. Maybe I will do a few different things on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But from there, it's when I'm going to start phase 2 of this learning journey. And I'll talk more about what I'm going to be doing in phase 2 later in the week. For now, let's just get started with language transfer in 1 second.
What was to do or to make?
Hacer.
Hacer.
Hacer. We said that for the informal positive command, we have a shortcut. We find the U version of the verb, haces, and we take away the S, hace. But with hacer, we have an irregularity. The informal command from hacer is has, H-A-Z. So in most of Spain, you will hear as.
Haz.
So if you want to say do it,
Hazlo.
Hazlo.
hazlo. Good.
Hazlo.
Another use of the mood tense is to turn words like where into wherever. What was where?
Donde.
Donde.
Donde. So of course we can't use the mood tense with donde because it's not a verb. How would you say where you want? Where you want, speaking
Donde
informally.
quieres.
Donde quieres.
Donde quieres. Good. Now, if we want to say wherever you want, then to get wherever, actually we can change the verb to the mood tense, and that changes the feeling of where. And then where turns into wherever. So if you want to say wherever you want, still informally,
Donde quieras.
Donde quieras.
I want to hear well low the I and the E in quieras.
Donde quieras.
Good. Donde quieras. So
Donde
do it
quieras.
wherever you want.
Hazlo donde quieras.
Hazlo donde quieras.
Good. Hazlo donde quieras. What was you like it? Still informally, you like it.
¿Te gusta?
Te gusta.
Te gusta. How would you say, do it how you like to do it? So,
Hazlo como como te gusta hacerlo.
do it how you like. What was the word for how? How are you called? What's your name?
Como
Como.
Como. Good.
Hazlo
So do it
como
how it pleases you. Do it how you like.
te gusta.
Hazlo como te gusta.
Good. Hazlo como te gusta. Do it how you like to. Do it how you like to do it. Now, what if you wanted to give the meaning? Do it however you like.
Hazlo como te
Hazlo
guste.
como te guste.
Hazlo como te guste. In English, we are changing
guste.
how to however, and in Spanish, we are changing te gusta to te guste. Hazlo como te guste. How would you say, do what you prefer? Do what you prefer. Still informal.
Hazlo
Haz
que prefieres. Prefieres. Hazlo que prefieres.
lo que prefieres.
And
Prefieres.
very good. Haz lo que prefieres. So what we are investigating here is an optional use of the mood tense. No? Because haz lo que prefieres is perfect Spanish. It just means do what you prefer. But if you want to give the meaning do whatever you prefer, how will you change that?
Haz lo que prefieres.
Haz lo que prefieras.
Good. Haz lo que prefieras. Do whatever you prefer. Eat whatever you prefer. Eat whatever you prefer. Speaking informally.
Comes lo que prefieras.
Comes lo que prefieras would be you eat whatever you prefer. Come
Come lo que prefieras.
lo que prefieras. Which is a way of saying it. You could say it like this. Comes lo que prefieras. It just sounds actually a little sweeter. You eat whatever you prefer. Rather than eat whatever you prefer. But here we're working with the order. We have a shortcut where we're not using the mood tense. What is it? We have comes, you eat, and what do we do to get the order?
Come.
Come, good. So, making the order, even though your sentence was very nice and very sweet, comes lo que prefieras, let's make it an order. Eat whatever you prefer.
Come lo que prefieras.
Very good. Come lo que prefieras. Now make this formal. Eat whatever you prefer, but speaking formally.
Coma lo que prefiera.
Very good. So here we have two mood tenses. We have coma, which is the order, and then prefiera, giving us
Coma
whatever from
lo
what.
que
Coma lo que prefiera.
prefiera.
What if you were speaking to more than one person? Eat whatever you prefer.
Coman lo que prefieran.
Coman lo que prefieran.
Good. Coman lo que prefieran. Good. What was to need in Spanish, sounding more like to necessitate?
Necesito.
Necesitar.
Necesitar.
Necesito.
Good.
Necesitar.
Whenever you need.
Necesitar.
Whenever you need. How do you say that? Speaking informally.
Donde necesitas.
Cuanto necesites.
Very good. Cuando necesites. Whenever
Cuando
you need.
necesitas.
Good.
Cuando
We said that to
necesitas.
choose was like elect, elegir, elegir. How would you say I choose?
Elejo.
Elijo.
And we had some change happening with that E.
Ah, yes, elijo.
Elijo. Good. Elijo. You choose, speaking informally?
Eliges.
Eliges.
Eliges. To follow and also to continue or to carry on, we can use this verb like that, is seguir. Seguir. So it's to follow or to continue, to carry on, seguir.
Seguir.
And this behaves like elegir in that the E will not split, it will just turn into an I when we stress it. So how do you say I continue or I follow?
Sigo.
Sigo. And there are some other verbs that come from seguir. We have conseguir, to get or to manage to. We have perseguir, which means to chase. And we will see the same irregularity in them. The I version of conseguir, consigo. Perseguir, persigo. So, like we said before, we can generalize the irregularities in Spanish. So, sigo, I follow, and how about he, she, it follows, or you, formal, follow?
Sigue.
Sigue, you informal,
Sigues.
they or you guys,
Sigan.
Siguen.
but we
Seguimos.
seguimos. Good. We're not stressing the E, so it escapes from the irregularity. Seguimos. Good. So we could say something like, I'll follow you wherever you go. So we can say, I will follow you, or we can just use the present. I follow you. Because the wherever you go is a future context, informally.
Te sigo donde
Te
vas.
sigo.
Te sigo. Good. Wherever you go. So this is actually to wherever you go. Wherever you go to wherever you go. So how would you say to where?
¿A dónde?
¿A dónde?
A donde. Good.
Te sigo
And
a donde
you go
vas.
informally, and we want the mood tense, which is irregular.
Se vaya.
Yes, very good. So now we can say the whole sentence. I'll follow you wherever you go, to wherever you go, informally.
Te sigo a donde vaya.
Te sigo a donde vaya. Vayas.
Good, very good.
Te sigo a donde
Another
vayas.
irregular verb in the mood tense is ser. The base for the mood tense of ser is sea. Sea, S-E-A.
Sea.
And you will hear the very common expression osea, literally meaning something like or it might be. Osea is just like this kind of way to break up speech whilst you're thinking what to say, like an So sea is the base for the mood tense. So if you want to say something like I prefer that it be like this, I prefer that it's like this, I prefer for it to be like this, of course we say I prefer that it be like this. What was the word for like this or like that?
Como...
Así.
Good.
Ah, así.
So I prefer that it be like this. I prefer it to be like this.
Prefiero que sea así.
Prefiero que lo. Do we use? No, we don't
No.
use lo here.
Good.
Prefiero que sea así.
Very good. Prefiero que sea así. What does sea lo que sea mean?
Whatever will be, will be.
Whatever it is, whatever will be, sea lo que sea, whatever will come. Good.
Next track.
The word for there is or there are, there is or there are.
Okay.
In most languages, this is a separate verb. But in English, we are expressing it with the combination of there and is or are. In Spanish, to say there is or there are, we have I, H-A-Y. And I is actually from haber,
I.
I. And for once, we have a situation where it's changing in English and it's not changing in Spanish. I means there is or there are. It's not changing. The word for somebody is alguien. alguien.
Alguien.
Good.
Alguien.
How would you say there is somebody here that wants to speak with you? And let's speak formally. There is somebody here that wants to speak with you. So
Hay alguien aquí que quiera hablar contigo.
the first bit is there is somebody here.
Hay alguien aquí
Hay
Good.
alguien
That
aquí
wants to speak with you, speaking formally.
que quiera
que quiere hablar
quiere
con usted.
Good.
hablar
Hay alguien aquí que quiere hablar con usted. There is somebody here that wants to speak with you. Now, if you say, is there somebody here that speaks Spanish? And you specify with your subjectivity this thing that we don't know if it exists or not, this somebody that speaks Spanish. And you do that with this que structure. Is there somebody here that speaks Spanish? Then here you will use the mood tense, this subjective tense. So how would you say that? Is there somebody here that speaks Spanish?
Hay alguien aquí que hable español.
Hay alguien aquí que hable español.
Very good. Hay alguien aquí que hable español, but if somebody replies to you, there are two people that speak Spanish here. There are two people here that speak Spanish. You think you will use the mood tense?
No.
No, they are just saying what there is. So there are two people, which in Spanish is there are two persons.
Hay dos personas.
So there are two people here
Hay dos personas aquí
that speak Spanish.
Hay dos personas aquí que hablan español.
que hablan español.
Very good. Hay dos personas aquí que hablan español. Very good. The past of I is había, which shows us actually that I comes from haber. It's a very weird historic version of haber. But había, we see more clearly that it comes from haber. Now había doesn't change either. So you will have to resist the temptation to say habían when you want to say there were instead of there was. No, it's always había. It doesn't change. I doesn't change for there is or there are, and había doesn't change for there was or there were. So how would you say there were two people that spoke Spanish? Now this is an
Había dos personas que hablaban español.
interesting sentence because in English we will use the point in the past. There were two people that spoke Spanish. But what do you think we will use in Spanish? The point or the line?
The line.
Why?
Because I've heard Spaniards speaking in English saying it that way.
Ah, yeah. So you heard the negative language transfer? Oh, that's great. So it makes sense for it to be the line in the past because what we're referring to here is the fact they were Spanish speakers and they weren't Spanish speakers just for that moment, were they? So if we look at it and we think about which one fits better, we will choose the line. So again, it's a great example that we don't want to take a direct translation from English from spoke. We want to just look at the context and decide if it makes sense to use the line or the point. So give me this sentence. There were two people here that spoke Spanish.
Había dos personas aquí que hablaban español.
Había dos personas aquí que hablaban español.
Good. Había dos personas aquí que hablaban español.
Que hablaban
If we were to use the
español.
point here, que hablaron español, we wouldn't be talking about the fact that they are Spanish speakers, but rather that they spoke Spanish at that time, whatever time we're referring to. We said that there is or there are, or había, there was or there were, comes from haber, in fact. So when we say something like there has to be something, and with this be, we mean exist. There has to exist something. This be is actually coming from there is, there are, not from to be. It's coming from this invisible verb that we do not have in English, which we make up for by using there is, there are. So when we say something like there has to be something that you can eat, there must be something that you can do. This be is exist. There must exist something. In which case it's haber. It's not ser and it's not a star. And if you try to think which one it is, ser or a star, you will be a long time trying to work out which one it is. So how would you say this sentence? There has to be something that you can do. Let's speak informally. There has to be something that you can do. You can use
Hay algo que you can do, que puedas hacer.
has to or must. Doesn't make a lot of difference here.
Tiene que, hay,
But it's to form. So I and había come from
haber. Tiene que haber
something that you can do.
algo que puedas hacer.
Yes, puedas. Very good. Tiene que haber algo que puedas.
Wait. Tiene que algo. Tiene que algo que.
Hacer. Because here, like before with the example of is there somebody that speaks Spanish, we are speaking about the existence of something when we don't know whether it exists or not, with this structure of I and que. So we're seeing that the mood tense has structural limitations. It can occur only in certain places structurally, and at the same time only to give certain meanings or feelings. Now, these meanings or feelings and the fact that Spanish is concerned with us expressing them and perceiving them through the language shows the value system of Spanish, or part of the value system of Spanish. Now, different languages have different value systems, what the language requires you to express through it, and then the other things that the language might ignore might be considered its value system. And languages, like cultures and individuals, have things they value, things they pay attention to, and things they don't. Which is what makes something like the mood tense so incredibly interesting to analyze and observe and use. So again, not something we want to be obsessed about getting correct. It really is something that we want to feel and also understand logically through our exposure and use of Spanish. We should also bear in mind that the use of the subjunctive or the mood tense can change slightly depending on dialect and also idiolect, which is the individual dialect of each person. So we want to look out for it, listen actively, analyze, and enjoy the journey of understanding it and also using it and the different possibilities of expression that gives us. It will be a very fascinating insight into the value system of this particular language.
Okay.
How would you say there should be something to eat? There should be something to eat. So we
Should is debería haber algo de comer.
we said that should was would owe or would must. So what is to owe, which we can use like must and it's related to debt?
Debería.
Deber.
Deber. And would must or would owe gives us the meaning should.
Debería.
Good. There should be something to eat.
Debería
Debería haber
Good. Your first place your mind is going to go is to choose between ser and a star. If neither fit, make that little check. Oh, is this exist? Is this the be that means exist? And then you know it's haber. So there should exist something to eat.
Debería haber algo comer. para comer.
Good. In order to eat. There should be something in order to eat. Good. Debería haber algo para comer. There should be something to eat. Very good. Another common place that we use the mood tense in Spanish is when we say it is an adjective, que, and then a verb. This verb is going to go into the mood tense. You are noticing that que has a lot to do with the subjunctive, that this que introduces the mood tense in many cases. So, for example, if I want to give you some advice and tell you it's terrible that you eat this. It is terrible that you eat this. So, let's speak informally.
Es terrible que comas esto.
Good. Es terrible que comas esto. Good. So it's the que, the combination of es terrible and que, which introduces this mood tense. If you say, it is terrible if you eat this, then you don't use the mood tense. So how would you say that? It is terrible if you eat this.
Es terrible si lo comes.
Still speaking informally.
Es terrible si comes esto.
Good. Es terrible si comes esto. How would you say it is possible?
Es posible.
Es posible.
Good. How would you say it's possible that we go later? What is later or more late?
Más tarde. Es posible que vayamos más tarde.
Más tarde.
Good. And what is the root for the mood tense of go? Boy, ba becomes?
Vaya.
Vaya.
Good. So, it is possible that we go later.
Es posible que vayamos
Es posible
más tarde.
que vayamos más tarde.
Good. Es posible que vayamos más tarde. Fuerte in Spanish means strong, but it's also used colloquially, and maybe the closest translation that I can think of would be something like, I mean, again, it's very colloquial, but you can say, oh, that's hardcore, that's full on. In Spanish, you say a lot, que fuerte, how heavy, how hardcore, how full on, que fuerte. And we see that we can use que like how, que fuerte, que lindo, how nice, how beautiful, que bueno, how good. You can say que increíble que, or que fuerte que. So, whilst we have twoques there in Spanish, this is just how incredible that. How hardcore that. And of course, we will carry on into the mood tense. So, how strong, how heavy that he is here. How would you say that?
Que fuerte que he is.
Qué fuerte que esté aquí.
Good. Que fuerte que esté aquí. In English, we achieve a similar feeling to
Fuerte que
what we
esté
get with
aquí.
the Spanish subjunctive, sometimes with words like should or might. Here, for example, in English, we could say, how incredible that he should come. Here we don't mean should, like in its literal meaning, like debería. No, here in English, we are using should to give this kind of mood tense feeling. How incredible that he should come. Está bien means it's okay. The literal translation of bien is well, and to be well is a state. So it goes with estar. Está bien. But it can also be used like it's okay. So, for example, you could say, it's okay that you ask, but I don't have to reply. So, to ask is preguntar, and to reply or to respond is responder. So we will say, it's okay that you ask, but
Está bien que respondes, pero
it's not necessary that I respond. I don't need.
no tengo que responder.
To respond. It's not necessary that I respond. So the first bit, it's okay that you ask, and we're speaking informally. And to ask was preguntar.
Está bien que preguntes.
Está bien que preguntes.
Good. Está bien que preguntes. So it's like, okay, you can ask as
Está
much as you
bien que
like. So this is the
preguntes.
feeling we get here with the mood
Pero
tense. Or in English, we might
no
use
tengo que
might
responder.
here to get this kind of mood tense feeling. It's okay that you might ask, but
Pero
it's not necessary that I respond. I don't need to respond. It's not necessary that I respond. There's a few ways we can say this.
no es necesito.
Necesito is the verb.
Necesidad.
Is
Oh, it's
necessity.
necessity.
So necessary, how is vocabulary in Spanish?
Wait, necesario.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's not necessary that I respond.
No es necesario que responda.
Very good. Está bien que preguntes, pero no es necesario que responda. And there we have the mood tense after es necesario or no es necesario que. So we have it is adjective que and then the verb, and that verb with the mood tense. We also could have said no hace falta que responda. It doesn't make lack. This common expression we said that we will hear around, hacer falta. No hace falta que responda. How would you say it is important that we find it soon? It's important.
Es importante que lo encontremos pronto.
Important that we find it soon.
Es importante que lo encontremos pronto.
Good. Es importante que lo encontremos pronto. Good.
Okay, that's it for the 3 tracks of language transfer today. During the tracks, I thought of another reason that I'm excited to finish. First of all, he does an excellent job explaining the subjunctive. That was always something that gave me problems in French. And I think that through language transfer Spanish, I understand the subjunctive in French better than I did before. So that's great. But still, another reason why I want to wrap it up is because I'm not getting enough input of pronunciation. So the teacher here is a British guy, obviously, and no matter how good his Spanish is, even if his accent is perfect, there are just so few sentences that we learn here that I'm not picking up enough pronunciation that you would hear in a single conversation between 2 Spaniards. So I'd like to start getting a feeling for the speed and pronunciation of the language better. Right now, I'm just getting the grammar, and that's fine, but I think it's going to help a lot when I am just taking it all in through the fire hose. But yeah, that's it for the lesson today. Tomorrow, gonna do 3 more tracks of language transfer and finish it up in the next